What he now says about this meeting with Donald Trump and George Papadopoulos there in the middle, who has now pleaded guilty and is cooperating with Robert Mueller. The AG now says he only remembered the meeting after news reports surfaced. Senate candidate Roy Moore tonight and that tearful fifth accuser. And now this evening, was he banned from a local shopping mall because there were teenagers? The new storm moving in tonight, it could very well affect holiday travel. The fire on the runway, the new report, what happened in the moments after. And just in time for the holidays, diet wine, does it taste the same?
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a Tuesday night. And we begin with that deadly rampage in California. A lone gunman, a powerful arsenal, seeming to pick his targets at random, including that elementary school, shooting into that class full of kindergartners. In all, 7 crime scenes, 4 people killed, at least 10 people injured, including 2 children. And ABC senior national correspondent Matt Gutman leading us off from Red Bluff, California tonight.
The gunman had already killed 4 people by the time he started firing into the Rancho Tehama Elementary School right during morning drop-off.
And all of a sudden, one of the teachers came running out around the building and told us to all run inside. There was a shooter coming.
Witness Coy Ferreira says he took cover in his child's kindergarten classroom as gunfire poured into the school for 25 minutes, shattering windows, wounding 1 child, and terrifying the rest.
And when they saw their friend shot up on the ground, they just all started bawling. They all started crying because they knew that their friend was shot.
Police say the shooter fired in multiple locations for 45 minutes, terrorizing residents in this rural area about 130 miles northwest of Sacramento. All of the residents ordered to shelter in place.
It was very clearly onset that we had a subject that was randomly picking targets.
Police say the shooter stole a pickup truck and then went on that shooting spree throughout the community, pumping this truck full of bullets, wounding a mother and her child. Neighbor Brian Flynn says the shooting began when the suspect killed his roommate. The suspect was known to shoot guns late at night and had threatened Flint in the past.
We've made it aware that this guy has been crazy and he's been threatening us.
By the time it was all over, 7 different crime scenes, 5 people killed, including the shooter, and at least 10 more wounded.
Suspected shooter is deceased by law enforcement bullets.
So let's get to Matt Gutman with us live tonight from Red Bluff, California. And Matt, you've also learned that this shooter was known to law enforcement.
That's right, David. Police here say they believe that he had multiple recent run-ins with the law, including a domestic violence incident and also this long-running dispute with a neighbor. They say he may have been out on bond during the shooting. Now, they say that he had no license to carry a gun, yet he had 3 of them with him at the time of the shooting, including that long semi-automatic rifle that fired dozens of rounds at that school. Now, everybody who was killed in the attack, those 4 people, were all adults, David.
Matt Gutman leading us off tonight. Matt, thank you. We are also following the manhunt at this hour. FBI agents going door to door. Authorities say a serial killer in Tampa has struck again. And did they miss the suspect by just seconds? ABC's Victor Akendo from Tampa tonight.
In Tampa today, a front doorbell camera capturing the FBI going door to door.
FBI!
Residents urged to stay inside while teams hunt for the killer they say could be hiding out in their own neighborhood.
I got a mail down in the middle of the street, Nebraska.
Police arriving just before 5 a.m., right after the gunman claimed his suspected 4th victim.
The shooter ran east.
Witnesses telling officers they missed the suspect by just 5 seconds, describing him as a thin black man about 6 feet tall.
This has got to stop. We need to catch this killer before we have to notify one more family that one of their loved ones is dead.
The latest victim, 60-year-old Ronald Felton, who was on his way to feed the homeless at a local church when he was shot from behind. His family today telling me Ronald enjoyed helping others.
I love him, but he's still gonna be in me. He's gonna be in my heart.
For weeks, police asking the public to help them identify this person of interest spotted on multiple cameras near the scene of the first of 3 murders in October. Those victims killed at night, blocks apart, shot at random. Felton now killed in that same neighborhood. We spoke to a woman who heard the gunshots this morning. She asked we not show her face.
This is a stun gun. It looks like a cell phone.
She already has a stun gun for protection, but is now thinking about buying a real gun.
I think it's the best way, but it's scary. It's quite scary, so.
Victor Oquendo with us live tonight. And Victor, we understand that neighborhood was on lockdown for much of the day. That lockdown now lifted, but not without reminding everyone to be extremely vigilant.
David, late today, police clearing this neighborhood, also reopening the street right behind me, which is where the shooting took place. Residents are allowed to leave their homes, but police want to make sure they look through any home surveillance video and make sure that any weapons or guns that they might own are secure and accounted for. David?
Victor Oquendo from Florida again tonight for us. Thank you, Victor. We turn next here to Attorney General Jeff Sessions back before Congress, grilled on Russia and asked whether or not he told the truth. Today, he was asked about that campaign meeting with campaign advisor George Papadopoulos, the man who pleaded guilty and who is now cooperating with Robert Mueller. You can see they were just a couple of seats away from one another. Tonight, Sessions says he only remembered that meeting after news reports surfaced about it. Here's ABC senior justice correspondent Pierre Thomas.
Tonight, the Attorney General for the third time on Capitol Hill answering questions about Russia.
Truth, so help you God.
And after already amending his answers before, today he was defiant, saying he has not lied about Russia.
I will not accept and reject accusations that I have ever lied. That is a lie.
Just last month, Sessions testified he never knew of any communications between Russian operatives and the Trump campaign.
I'm not aware of those activities. And I wasn't, and am not. I don't believe they occurred.
Since then, we learned Sessions was sitting right there, just one seat away from former Trump advisor George Papadopoulos, when Papadopoulos said he had connections who could arrange a meeting between Trump and Vladimir Putin. Donald Trump sitting there, too. Today, the Attorney General said he had forgotten about that conversation and only remembered it after news reports of the meeting.
I do now recall that the March 2016 meeting at the Trump Hotel that Mr. Papadopoulos attended, but I have no clear recollection of the details of what he said at that meeting.
But even though Sessions said he did not remember details of the meeting, he says he does remember what he told Papadopoulos.
There are reports that you shut George down, unquote, when he proposed that meeting with Putin. Is this correct, yes or no?
Yes, I pushed back.
His answer to how he could forget a meeting like this?
It was a brilliant campaign, I think, in many ways, but it was a form of chaos every day from day one.
Sessions was pressed about his own communications with the Russians during the campaign. In his Senate confirmation hearing, he said there were none, only to later acknowledge meeting with the Russian ambassador.
You did have communications with the Russians last year, isn't that right? Just yes or no?
I had a meeting with the Russian ambassador, yes.
That's exactly the opposite answer you gave under oath to U.S. Senate. So again, either you're lying to U.S. Senate or you're lying to U.S. House of Representatives.
Well,
the Attorney General not just facing heat from Congress, but from the White House tonight as well. The AG under pressure from President Trump, who's been pushing the Justice Department to investigate his political opponents.
But honestly, they should be looking at the Democrats, and a lot of people are disappointed in the Justice Department, including me.
We're now learning that just 10 days after the president's comments, Sessions' office informed Congress prosecutors would look into whether to name a special counsel to investigate the Clinton Foundation. But tonight, the Attorney General insists he's not a pawn of the president.
The Department of Justice can never be used to retaliate politically against opponents, and that would be wrong.
And Pierre Thomas with us live tonight. And Pierre, Attorney General Jeff Sessions was repeatedly pressed on that notion that the president is pressuring him to now go after Mr. Trump's political opponent, Hillary Clinton. Sessions was asked what it would take for him to name a special counsel to investigate Clinton and the Democrats. How did he answer?
David, he said there would have to be a factual basis to appoint a special counsel. In other words, evidence that a crime may have been committed. But remember, David, Sessions recused himself from matters related to the 2016 campaign, so it's unclear how this is going to turn out. David?
Pierre Thomas with us again tonight. Thank you, Pierre. Next tonight, the embattled Senate candidate from Alabama, Roy Moore. What he says tonight about the future of his race after that fifth accuser tearfully coming forward. And tonight, that new report from The New Yorker saying Moore might have been banned from a local mall because of reports he badgered teenage girls. ABC's Tom Yamas and our team tonight with a former worker from that mall.
Even as the allegations against him pile up, tonight, Roy Moore's campaign tells ABC News there's no way he's dropping out.
The people of Alabama know me. They know my character.
Moore undeterred by the accusations of Beverly Young Nelson, who said Moore sexually assaulted her in his car when she was 16.
I tried fighting him off while yelling at him to stop.
But instead of stopping, he began squeezing my neck, attempting to force my head onto his crotch.
Finally, she says, Moore gave up.
And he then looked at me and he told me, he said, "You're just a child." And he said, "I am the district attorney of Etowah County. And if you tell anyone about this, no one will ever believe you."
Her comments come on the heels of a bombshell Washington Post report. One woman claiming Moore molested her when she was 14. 3 others who say he dated them or asked them out when they were teenagers and he was in his 30s. Moore has denied doing anything inappropriate, but there are now new reports that around that same time, Moore was a familiar presence at a local mall. ABC's Stephanie Ramos spoke to a woman who says she worked there and was warned about him.
He preferred younger women and to keep an eye on the young girls while they were working because he would try to date them, and sometimes it made them nervous.
In Washington, a growing number of Senate Republicans say Moore is not welcome here.
He's obviously not fit to be in the United States Senate.
Moore calling it trash and filth, an inside hit job by the Washington elite who wallow in the swamp. Some Alabama Republican officials are still in his corner. Congressman Mo Brooks telling one local paper, America faces huge challenges that are vastly more important than contested sexual allegations from 4 decades ago.
Representative Brooks, Tom Yamas with ABC. How are you?
Today, I tracked down Congressman Brooks on Capitol Hill.
For Roy Moore, do you support him? Representative Brooks, the people of Alabama probably want to know, are you still supporting Roy Moore? So you still believe Roy Moore then?
I believe that the Democrat will do great damage to our country on a myriad of issues.
Sticking with the Republican candidate, Tom Yamas joins us from Capitol Hill tonight. And Tom, this evening ABC News has learned the Republican National Committee is no longer putting any money behind Roy Moore's campaign. But you're also learning more tonight about a suspicious robocall in Alabama. What do you know?
That's right, David. The dark arts of politics apparently underway in Alabama right now. We just spoke with a pastor who says he received the robocall. In the robocall, someone claiming to be a reporter from the Washington Post asked to speak to a female in her 50s who has damaging information on Roy Moore. And if they have that information, the Post would pay $5,000 to $7,000 for this information. Now, the Post says this is a completely bogus call. And tonight they put out this statement. We are shocked and appalled that anyone would stoop to this level to discredit real journalism. David?
Tom Yamas, great to have you on the Hill again tonight. Meantime, a hearing on Capitol Hill today about sexual harassment in Congress. Several congresswomen testifying about misconduct, including Representative Jackie Speer, who last month revealed she was sexually harassed when she was a young Capitol Hill staffer, saying since then she's now heard from many other staffers, and she believes there are current members of Congress sexually harassing their staff.
In fact, there are 2 members of Congress, Republican and Democrat, right now, who have been subject to review or not have been subject to review, but have engaged in sexual harassment.
Tonight, Speaker Paul Ryan is now calling for mandatory anti-harassment training for all House members and their staff. Next tonight to the Senate, your money, your taxes, and it turns out Senate Republicans have now revealed their tax plan that it will include a repeal of the health insurance mandate. It could save billions, but at what cost for some Americans and their insurance? ABC's Mary Bruce tonight getting answers.
Tonight, an explosive addition to tax reform that reignites the health care debate. As part of their tax bill, Senate Republicans are now aiming to repeal the Obamacare mandate that all Americans have insurance.
Now's a good time to repeal bad policy.
I've always said if we can get it in there without imperiling the bill, it's a good thing.
The move solves a math problem for Senate Republicans. It could save more than $300 billion over the next decade, but it's also projected to leave 13 million more Americans uninsured by 2027. Republicans have tried to get rid of the mandate before and failed. John McCain delivering that dramatic thumbs down to the last attempt to repeal Obamacare without a replacement.
Are you concerned, though, that this is going to make passing tax reform even more difficult? You've tried this in the past. It hasn't worked.
I'm mildly concerned, but I don't think that their concerns are great enough to cause them to vote against tax reform.
But President Trump wants to give this another go. Tweeting, how about ending the unfair and highly unpopular individual mandate in Obamacare and reducing taxes even further?
Mary Bruce with us live back on the Hill tonight. Mary, give us a reality check tonight. We know Republican senators can only afford to lose 2 votes and have this pass. Where does the mass stand tonight?
Well, David, some Republicans are already voicing concerns about this. Susan Collins, for instance, has serious questions about how this would impact premiums. But the big question tonight, will Republicans' desire to pass tax reform outweigh these concerns? David?
Taxes and health care now colliding. Mary Bruce with us live. Mary, thank you. There is still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Tuesday. The powerful storm hitting tonight. The first system already deadly. Now the new storm right behind it, expected to track right across the country all week into the weekend. It could affect holiday travel. We have the new track tonight. The stunning audio the local DA recorded in the back of an Uber, what she says to that Uber driver, and you'll hear it after the... Next tonight here, the prosecutor fired in Dallas. Her fight with an Uber driver recorded and then posted on Facebook, and you're about to hear why it got her into hot water, I should say. Here's ABC's Marcus Moore.
I'm very sorry for the language that I used. I'm not proud of it.
Tonight, Jody Warner, the now former Dallas County Assistant DA, apologizing for what she said during an Uber ride that cost her her job.
I'm asking you politely to please step out of my vehicle.
No, because now I'm pissed off.
Ma'am, please.
No, man, please. Dude, everything's being recorded. I'm an assistant district attorney, so shut up.
Warner's words recorded by Uber driver Sean Platt and posted on Facebook after he called 911 when she refused to get out of his car Friday night.
I want to go home so badly, but you're so stupid. I want the cops to come so that they can you up.
Platt says at one point Warner got physical with him, a charge she denies.
I embarrassed my family. I embarrassed myself.
The Uber driver in this case says an apology is enough.
I'm not angry at her. I forgive her.
David, Warner admits she was drinking and uncomfortable with the route that Uber driver was taking to her home, but that she handled it poorly. David.
Marcus, thank you. When we come back tonight, the new storm hitting this evening right across the country. It could affect holiday travel right into next weekend. And the new video, let me know. When we come back, the mom, her